one other justice to agree with him, who was appointed by Kennedy, but was kind of a loose cannon, and that was Byron White. He was a famous football player. And he agreed with Rehnquist. But basically, what happened was that the court made a ruling on something they had no authority to rule on, because the country was operating exactly the way the Constitution called for prior to that ruling. In other words, the Constitution says that each state is allowed to have their own laws, and that's exactly the way it was. And that's exactly the way it had been since 1787, when the Constitution was written. And that's exactly the way it was supposed to operate. And what happened? They got their people on the court, and they went in there, and they ruled on a matter that was not within their authority. Anyway, that's enough of me. I passed out that flyer because we pass out these flyers. We passed out this flyer in Washington, D.C. on Constitution Day, my organization. And we listed the 5 things that are of major concern to us, and I listed them in order of importance. So these are the main areas where the government is taking away your freedom. And until we reestablish some order here in this country, this is just going to get worse and worse.
So what do we do about it?
What do we do about it?
If I knew, I would tell you.
I'm going to ask you, I got an email asking me to be part of a committee about the Convention of States.
You want to talk about the Convention of States?
Mark Levin.
Yeah, I'll give you my thinking on that. It's got a possibility to be good if they stick to one topic and one topic only, and that is Article 5 of the Constitution, which is about how to amend the Constitution. The Constitution right now is, in my opinion, too hard to amend. And that gives the liberals an excuse for ignoring it. I think if the Convention of States would just go in and amend Article 5 so that the states can amend the Constitution unilaterally, which is what the intention of the Convention of States were anyway, that they could get in there, get a good procedure, get out, and maybe it might have some success. The problem with that Convention of States is you're never going to get any agreement on how this is going to operate. I mean, in the Constitution, they didn't tell them how to do this. So are you going to have each state have one vote? Well, the big states will argue about that. Or are you going to have each state have the same number as they have congressmen and senators? Well, the small states won't like that. So I think it's sort of like the table in the Vietnam peace talks, you know, whether it's going to be square or round. You know, that went on for 2 or 3 years. And this is going to be the same kind of thing. They'll never be able to agree on how they're going to do this. So the technical problems, I think, are going to trip them up here. But I wrote in my second book something about Article 5. My thoughts on some of the things that needed to be done there. Yes, ma'am.
Well, if they won't follow the Constitution now, what difference does it make if they change it?
It doesn't make any if they won't follow it.
Exactly so. It's like spitting in the wind.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, Russ.
All of us hear the same media. We hear the same news through the left and the right. I feel personally, and I'm sure some of you that are here to listen to me, that we've been deceived for the last 5 years. Right up till today, on the news of Bergdahl, accused traitor, and is supposed to be sentenced for his act where six United States soldiers' souls were ambushed and taken out of the picture. That's only one situation. There are several others that we hear on the media, on the news, about immigration that we pay for. We're paying for this, folks. Huh? Don't we agree on that? That we're going to pay through the nose for this illegal immigration that should have been stopped a long time ago, according to our Constitution. But it goes on. 12 million illegals here in the country. When I was married, I had to go through the proper channels for my ex-wife to come from Canada to the United States. It took me 6 months to do this legally. Now they just walk across the border, you know, and that president-elect that we have, I got some other choice names for him that I feel inside, allows this, and his administration of the left, you know. There's Benghazi. God rest the souls of those 4 that were
Sacrificed.
that were treated that way, you know. Now there's other deception with Hillary, with her emails, okay? Then there's Obamacare. The mandates of that Obamacare should be eliminated. There are only 16 million that have signed up for Obamacare, and the other 35 million don't have insurance. Check it out. You hear the same news that I do, you know, or you read it on your computer. I could go on, and you know what bugs me, Lou? Here's another one. There's 500 some odd 50 lawyers with doctorates and experience of various ages in Congress. They're in Congress. We elected them, right? The president-elect always seems, as I see it, to always circumvent Congress with executive orders. How does that work? There's 550 souls there. How can the president use executive orders to get around that?
Nobody's got the nerve to stand up.
You know what? Deception, I call it, folks. Deception. My name's Russ Martino. God bless you.
I just wanted to make a comment about executive orders. Part of the problem is that Congress writes vague laws. This is a big problem because it turns their power over to the executive branch. Now the reason they write vague laws is because they want to get reelected. And if they agree to something specific, they're going to lose voters. So this is how this takes place. I don't understand why you can't write a specific law, but they just don't seem to want to get involved in that. Now,
That's their job.
and it's for the reason I said. They get up there and the first thing they want to do is get reelected. I don't. Especially the congressmen, the representatives who have to run every 2 years. So this has to be addressed to a certain extent. They write these laws, and it gives the president the power to write the details, and they do that.
We need term limits.
Yeah, we need some term limits, sure.
I think somebody in my friends that somebody has put in a book.
We need some guts.
I saw that on.
Oh, well.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
I got
see,
another-
Congress
They
has
won't
a
vote
vote on
against
it.
themselves.
Congress has a vote on it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Just one more thing I wanted to say. This new deal with Iran is another deception for the United States. I feel that way. Okay? With Iran's ICBMs, you know, that they're developing, and with this framework that Kerry wrote, according to the media that we all read about and see, that that framework is like a falsehood as far as I'm concerned. Bibi, Netanyahu, and the Jews are wonderful people. They want to curl up their feet on a fireside with their children and go shopping and eat. You never heard of the Jews wanting to attack each other. I mean, attack somebody. They're always ready to help somebody. They're democratic, and they have to completely defend themselves all the time. I'm with the Jews 100%. They're surrounded by 400 Arabs. How would you like that in your neighborhood, right? Death to America. Remember that, folks. Remember who's saying that. They're saying death to America. So, Iran, in 10 years or whatever it is, they developed an atomic weapon. They have an ICBM that can reach New York, and my New York Yankees, which I really deplore. I really deplore. Boston Red Sox too. Anyone in baseball that started yesterday.
Was there a question back there? Yes, sir. Go ahead.
As far as term limits go, we ourselves can vote these politicians out.
Yeah.
We don't need term limits as a law. When a politician comes up for election we just don't vote for them. Everybody wants somebody else to do their job. Well, I have a habit. You haven't done anything for me in one term, I'm not putting you for a second. And we got to do that in the primaries. When somebody comes up and they've been in office for 2 terms, comes the primaries, we don't vote for them. We create our own term limits for these people. And that's how we get term limits into the system, by doing it ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Well, the problem with questions is that they lie to you and it's listed before you vote for it. And they're doing it in the state legislature right now. They do one thing and turn around and do another.
But it's the same thing. If somebody comes up for the 3rd time,
Okay, I want to talk about one more thing. Yes, sir.
I'd like to respond to that we can do it ourselves with term limits. They have made it very, very difficult for us to do that because they have bought the votes of the uninformed people who don't really give a damn except anything they can get by themselves. We've got almost 50% of this country who are getting federal payments of some kind or another. And do you think that they're going to vote for a Republican that they know will cut them off? I don't think
but only
so.
18% of the population voted yesterday. 18%.
I wanted to talk a little bit, just briefly, about what I regard as a giant hole in the Constitution. And it's something the founders didn't think of, and it's something that needs to be addressed. And that has to do with money. What happens is the federal government collects the income tax, they collect the Social Security, they collect all kinds of money, and they can print money. And what do they do with this money? They use it to extort the states. They say, okay, if you put in Common Core, we'll give you money. This all needs to be changed. And it's pretty easy to change it if you can get the right constitutional amendment in there. But basically, is anybody familiar with the Welfare Reform Act of 1995 or 96? Excuse me. Clinton vetoed it 2 times, and then they finally put it up to him right before the election. He was afraid he wasn't going to get reelected if he vetoed it a 3rd time, so he signed it. And it was so successful, he then claimed credit for it, which is pretty typical. But anyway, what you need to have some sort of block grant system to the states, and that's the only way the federal government can send them money. And then a lot of these problems will go away. I just wanted to point that out. I don't think the founding fathers ever realized that the federal government would use money to extort the states into acting the way they want them to act.
Wasn't it Richard Nixon who started the block grant program? I think it was.
I don't know who started
Yes,
it.
it was.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think the Constitution means when it says natural born citizen?
Well, that's very clear.
I got notes on that, but I think they have to be born in the United States of America.
No,
No,
they haven't. Otherwise, Ted Cruz could not be,
Well,
because he was born in Canada. And George Romney, who ran for president, was born in Mexico.
And,
The Constitution states
And
that
McCain was born in Panama.
Yes.
at least one.
But one parent has to be a parent.
I can tell you about the girl from Purdue University, the freshman at Purdue, who was very upset because when she found out that the president had to be a natural-born citizen. And she said, what about all the people that were born cesarean?
That was Indiana University, not Purdue.
That's a good one.
That's our college. That's our college education.
That's the public education system at work for you, right?